Welcome to DC. 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 Welcome to DC.
Welcome to Inners in the Lab live show. I am Deuce in the building. We got Mayo in the building. We got the rest of the crew. They are on the way. We apologize for the late start, but we had some exciting, kind of exciting for some news over the weekend. Of course, our Commanders lost, and the fan base is in shambles. So, we're gonna come right back, man. We're gonna give our our first thought of the day. All right, first thought of the day, man. Look, it is week 4, but at some point, regardless of what position your team is in, you want to see some type of improvement. You want to see where your team can improve. Even if your team is 3-1, if your team is undefeated, like the Philadelphia Eagles, they're the last remaining undefeated team. You still want to look forward to see where can we improve. And some of the things that you have been terrible at, you want to see how you can improve from those. So again, it is only week 4. If you're looking forward to week 5, you have not yet jumped off the ledge. There is a reason why you shouldn't jump off the ledge, because it's week 4. You can't find nothing else, can't find nothing promising. If you can't find any encouragement from your team, just take my word for it and just use it's only week 4.
This is Hog Farmer Chris from the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation. And before you start listening to Red Zone in the Lab, check out our Amazon Smile, a simple way to support the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation every time you shop, and it's no cost to you.
Red Zone DC presents Enters the Lab Live Show, mixing fantasy football, college football, and everything NFL with your hosts, Lady E, Mayo, Slim, C. Henry, and Deuce. We do this because we love it, not because it loves us.
Don't worry about the horse being blind, just load the wagon. Then let's go.
And then the minute it's over, you got to pull the pants up. You always block, and then you pull up your pants.
You know, the great thing about being a football player is you don't have to take a shower to go to work.
Feels like the second time in my life that I'm being carried off the shoulders of others. This has been the sweetest ride of them all. Thank you.
Hall of Famer John Madden. We show much respect to him on this show. He said something about linemen. Block. Pull your pants up. Block. Pull your pants up. There's Lady E with her Atlanta stuff on. Another Victory Monday for her 2 weeks in a row. And 2 weeks in a row for Misery Monday for the Commanders and the Lions fans. I don't think C. Henry wanted to hit that line. So, of course, he won't be here until 5 p.m. So when we think about John Madden and we think about the offensive line, and he said, like, do we actually have players that come to work, get dirty, don't take showers, leave, come back ready to go again? Are there players like that today? Because I know we don't have
DJ Metcalf.
See, Henry, welcome. I just said that the Commanders and Lions are having Misery Monday, so welcome, my brother.
Yeah, man. What's going on, man? Shout out to Lady E and the Atlanta Falcons, man. They're the only ones celebrating Victory Monday today. It's another misery, mopey Monday for us, man. We just giving up points left and right, man. We can't stop nobody, bro.
When it comes to the Commanders, right? Let's talk about the Commanders and the offensive line. We know how important it is to have a good line, O line and D line. It starts with them. It starts with the trenches, and for us, everything runs through there, and we have just been getting blown up on the offensive side of the ball to the point where, I mean, it's shambles. Like, I don't even know where to pinpoint. I haven't watched the game back yet. Outside looking in, Henry, what do you see for the Commanders?
Man, just right now, man, it needs to get better up front. You know what I mean? I think on both sides. I think the offensive line is definitely letting you guys down, but I think also when you look at the defensive line, I think that was supposed to be kind of a strength. You know what I'm saying, for the team. I think that's, they haven't quite lived up to the billing right, as of yet. And the back seven is the back seven. Needs a little bit of work, a little young back there. So. It's still we're at the quarter pole. We're at the quarter pole, so it's still some time for everybody to get better and improve, man. So that's what I'm hanging my hat on, man.
Look at E, man. Ain't nobody talking to you, E. Wait your turn, E. Hey, how you going?
I can't even see her head. All I see is a jerk.
Hey, I gotta represent, because y'all don't understand how long this been coming. Do you hear me? This has been a long time coming. I get the offense, literally offensive line struggles, defensive line struggles. So I'm feeling with the Commanders today because I mean, no lie. We had Matt Ryan last year face down, ass up. So just to even see that our offensive line is actually doing marvelous right now, it's even a shocking to me because I complained about it. So yeah, I feel y'all. It's gonna take time though. I mean, Atlanta has a fear of drafting offensive linemen. I don't know why, and even when we do, they don't pan out as well. Shout out to Jalen Mayfield. Stay your butt on the IR. We don't want you back. We good over here, sir. Yes.
My goodness.
But y'all just got Jalen. Y'all good on him already?
Hey, baby, we good. Our offense, look, no, we good. We leave him where
he ain't even been in town long enough to visit all the, all the manly establishments there in Atlanta.
No,
he good.
I just want to shout out Miss Janet. How you doing, Miss Janet? Go ahead, Mayo. Mayo got soccer practice. I guess he told us he got soccer practice when the Commander segment come up. So let's let him get his stuff.
I was trying to skip out of this part right here. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I would have said I had to clean the gutters or something right now or something, man. That's how I feel right now. Look, I even went back and threw on the old Stanley Cup champion just to try to get my head wrapped around something good and positive. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's all I could bring, man. I have no energy right now, for what's going on. I mean, it's just you can't. You feel like the offensive line was supposed to be the best part of this team, and then now we're really looking at it, and it's not. It's not. They let go of some key players there, and what we thought were equal replacements for them, it's not working, man. It's not working. So they got to figure out something, among the, within the team itself, juggle some guys around, maybe let some younger players step up and play. But what we thought was a strength, it is surely not even close to a strength right now. I mean, they are playing miserable up front on the O line, and it is disappointing. You figure that they make these swap outs. They let this guy go and bring this guy in, and they think they know what they're bringing in, and I don't know, man. I really don't know.
Yeah, man, that was one of my strengths coming into the year. I mean, we was down to like our fifth center last year, and we were great. Like we were, if you want to look at PFF grades and those type of things, we were top 10 in all the major statistics. But now when you look at that line, and yes, we had a couple swap outs. Of course, Sheriff went out, but Sheriff with the Jags. Flowers is still in the free agent market, but at the same time, Sheriff missed a lot of games, and Wes Schweitzer came in and be able to fill. So that group continued on, even though all of the downs that we had last year. And coming into this year, this was like our strength, other than the skill position players. But if your line is crappy, your skill position players don't matter if you can't get their hands on the ball. And that's what that's the issue that we're having now that we're going to have to fix. So far, we made some moves. We finally benched Trey Turner, and I want to know how y'all feel about this. Is that when you see someone struggling, right, and when you pull them the second series of the game, I'm so baffled and confused that if they was on that short of a leash, what's the reason of starting them the whole week? If you're going to pull them the second series, you might as well went with the guy you was going to pull them for. How you feel about that, Henry? Oh, Mayo, before you gotta go, you can start off.
Okay, yeah. I don't understand that philosophy. I mean, something had them concerned that they had to pull him that early. And it wasn't injury. So that should have never happened. I mean, they should have already made that change at the end of last week. And all week should have been this, whoever that was going to play that position, let's just go ahead and work them in. I don't know why you get all the way to the game, did all this preparation, get to the game, put him in the game, and then literally pull him in the second series. That just don't happen, man. I mean, just some of the things like that is just mystifying to me to put so much energy and then turn around and then backtrack, right in middle stride instead of taking the right time to make those adjustments. So that's how I see that.
Yeah, my man Carter said, hey, remember I said if we lost early, something's got to shake, and it ain't my dreads. He also said Mayo is a trip winning the Stanley Cup championship. We got to do something, man. My man South, man, we got to get my man South back on the show,
hype
man.
It up, man.
My man South he's a man. We got to get him on here, man. He be having me cracking up, man. He goes straight at people's throats. He said, we talking about our trash bin guys. Man, look, man, Henry, I mean, how you feel? You don't seem to, y'all offensive line, man, was pretty good. Coming into this
Everything
year.
else is bad.
Yeah, that's no.
So
we gonna get to UE. He's probably like, man, they talk about these trash. Okay. When we gonna get to the Falcons segment? Go ahead, Henry.
When it comes to Trey, man, I don't know really was the backstory on him too much, but
he's trash. And he was hurt last year.
He's been an established starter in the league for a long time. I don't know the guy behind him if he's a rookie or he's a young player.
30 years.
Maybe they just wanted to give him one last shot, man. They've probably invested some more, a lot of money in him, and they wanted to see, what he can do. And he came out there and, like you said, man, probably didn't perform up to, the standard, man. They wanted to see what the other guy got. I mean, to me, it don't really matter, man, because the bottom line is this, man. If this guy get in there and it's terrible, we can go right back to you. You know what I'm saying? You can't be in your feelings in this game. You're a pro. And, if you get benched, you get benched, but you never know. This guy may go out here and break his leg the next play. So you right back in there. So you just got to stay ready, man. So, Trey going to be all right as long as the check's still coming. He going to be all right.
Yeah, Ron said he had to talk with him, let him know he going to be a bench. And they blamed it on the injury. He was nursing the injury. He didn't play the whole preseason. Noel didn't play the preseason either, but our line looked okay. It looked okay against first stringers, looked okay against second and third stringers throughout the whole preseason. But to come in here, and for it to look the way it has looked is very disappointing. And Slim is back in the building. And if you come right in, we're talking about the Commanders. So let me let you get yours off before we get to the. Look at Lady E. She ain't stopped smiling since
I tried.
He tried to
look at me. I tried to come in late. I tried to come in late.
You tried to miss the whole segment.
You know what I'm saying? What's going on, family? Hope everybody in good spirits. No, but I mean, it's one of those things where like it's plenty of blame to go around. It's definitely plenty of blame to go around. But for me, it's like coordinator, O-line, head coach is like the three biggest slices of the pie. Like Carson deserves some blame there. You know what I mean? Defense deserves some blame. They giving up a lot of chunk plays. But a lot of time when you're watching the game in totality and how the game plays out, it's different than just going back and saying, oh, Carson, they had 10 points and the defense gave up this play and that play. When you're watching it how it play out, that I just think that Scott, Ron, and that O-line are the biggest issues we got to figure out moving forward.
Yeah, we got a lot to figure out. But Ms. Janice says he hadn't been in training camp or OTAs. So why start him when others been there the whole time? And I think, Ms. Janet, the reason why they did that because this is the guy they brought in to replace Brandon Scherf. And if you bringing him in to replace Brandon Scherf, like you have to put him out there. Like you can't just say, all right, well, let me take this hit. I was wrong. Let me start the third-year player because he's better. You know, some coaches just can't take that heat. But
for me, before you move
Mm-hmm.
on, Deuce, for me, the one simple thing I didn't like about that is he's been very cautious with all of our players that was banged up, nicked up throughout camp. And then now today he's trying to make it seem like, oh, we rushed Turner back. Maybe we played him a little too early. So I definitely feel what Miss Jan is saying about that. It's a lot of inconsistencies that I'm hearing from my coach right now.
What's up, E?
How y'all doing?
This evil
I'm just trying to talk about this
villain
winning type
got
football. You know what I'm saying? Letting y'all losers get it off. You know what I mean?
What you say, Slim?
like evil villain Grant she got going on over there, man.
All right. So, what are the surprises so far, E? Because did you see your team here at this point coming into the season?
According to ESPN, NFL, CBS, Fox, and all the other journalists out there, we were only a 2-win team. Technically, we could be 4-0, or even we in week 4, it could be 3-1. You know, doesn't
What's
really.
that? Mariota fumble.
Look, let me tell you something. We
Mariota
will get on him. Yeah, look, man. I'm gonna say this. Even though we did get the W, I'm glad we got the W. When your coach starts running for 14 times, you throw an interception. I'm sorry, you need to get your act together.
Mm-hmm.
After Mariota threw that interception, we ran the ball 14 times. It wasn't until the end that they decided to give him 1 or 2 more passes. You can't sit over there and overthrow a Kyle Pitts. You can't overthrow a Drake London. You can't sit over there and take ill-advised throws, and then you can't be fumbling critical times. Yes, we got the W, and I'm happy we got the W. You know, Nick Chubb got some runs on us. Shout out to Chubby representing that Georgia, but at the same token, we held him. We held Kareem Hunt. Shout out, that's why I put on my jersey, number 24, AJ Terrell. He is back. He held Amari Cooper to 1 reception and 9 yards. So, my defense is looking pretty good, looking sharp. We still got little things over there. Offense, shocking the heck out of me right now because I didn't expect that. Again, we always had problems with offensive line. Believe it or not, in 2016, our offensive line wasn't even that top offensive line back there. So that, we don't need to be in no Bryce Young sweepstakes. We good with Desmond Ritter. We don't need to be in that. We don't need to be in that sweepstakes because at this point in time, a lot of people are expecting us to lose. I mean, right now we're tied for first when in the division it was supposed to be the Bucks and the Saints. And look where we at.
This is true.
Shout out to Arthur Smith because there's still a lot of people in the fan base that still don't trust him, still don't understand what he's doing. But, I mean, give this man some time. I already said it, 2023, 2024, the Falcons will be talked about right then because we get money next year. We start getting his type of player, start getting really familiar with his system. You know, shout out to the fans because the Dome has been rocking the last 2 home games and we finally won a home game. We finally won our first home game of the season. Finally. All last season, we couldn't win one. Couldn't win one at home.
Unlike 2 people on this show right now, when we lose, we can't fill a stadium. But for some reason, the Falcons and the Lions, who had an 0-16 season, can still fill the stadium. No, I'm giving you a compliment. I'm giving you a compliment.
That's a backwards compliment.
About that, man.
I'm giving you a compliment. Give you a fan compliment, man. But what you think about that, C. Henry? You think do you think that Atlanta will win themselves out of a prominent franchise quarterback, or do you think Ritter is that guy? And we're gonna come back to you.
I don't know about Ritter, but I like what they're doing, man. I'm a fan of Arthur Smith. I'm wondering why we didn't hire him over here, because I know we interviewed him, or we tried to interview him. But he's, to me, came in there last year with what I thought was a roster that was probably a 2 or 3 win roster. He won 7 games last year. He did have Matt Ryan, but again, everybody else was pretty much, you know what I mean? They didn't know where they was going. Their best receiver ended up being their best running back. So he's done a lot, man, with not a lot, if you will. So I like what the direction that they're going. Like he said, as they get more money and they spend more in free agency, Atlanta has become a free agency destination. You know what I'm saying? It's the LA of the South, if you will. So a lot of folks want to go out there without the high cost of living. So a lot of folks want to go down to Atlanta, you know what I'm saying, and set up shop down there. So I see them being, you know what I'm saying, really exciting for the years to come.
How you feel about Ritter, Slim?
I like Ritter. I be seen far as like how good he could be, but I definitely thought that if before the season started, I always was of the mindset if the Falcons were going to prove me wrong and win some games that I didn't expect them to win, because eventually they put 4 in the game. I don't believe in Mary Chota at all.
Chota.
So, the accuracies, the inaccuracies that, they talked about with Desmond coming out, like he's got athletes where, you can simplify the game for him. And you can see that when Arthur left Tennessee, like that offense is super spotty besides giving King Henry the ball. You know what I mean? They did pick it up a little bit yesterday, but I think that's a lot, on the shoulders of King Henry starting to get going against the Colts. And that being a division rival. But yeah, they've been a little choppy out the gates, whereas you see that, along the lines of what C. Henry said, he's just making something, without the, best ingredients down there right now. So I definitely like what Arthur Smith doing, and I like the potential that they have moving forward. Let's say if Mariota can just, kind of keep them 500 for a couple more weeks, give Ritter some more practice reps, you know what I'm saying? Give the coaches a little bit more confidence to throw them in there. But, it's not going to be too much longer. They're going to keep seeing them almost lose games or actually lose games because of Mary Chota.
Yeah, he dropped out. Is Cordell Patterson? I know they say he's going on IR. Do y'all know if it's short term or long term?
I think it's just short term, just 4 games.
I think 4 weeks. Yeah, 4 weeks.
Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, man. So yeah, Atlanta's making some noise in the South, and let's kind of pivot. So, while we're here and we're in that division, Tampa Bay, man. I mean, they got the break smash yesterday. Is this the end of Brady? Like, what's going on here? Do we got to wait for them to get fully healthy? What are we doing here? Like, Brady ain't come back to go out like this, man.
So I feel like it's they 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
They done played some of the premier teams in the league early on. They have been very much banged up.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they right in the mix. 2-2. That was a tough loss last night. I wouldn't call them getting the brakes beat off of them. 41-31 tight game, and you open up the game with a turnover that led right to some points. Now their defense got beat up. I don't even remember a stop in that game. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was kind of referring to, the defense. I was referring to the defense because that's been they backbone. Like that's been they can always rely on their defense.
Don't underestimate the importance of this game to Pat Mahomes in Kansas City. Yeah. This was the get back revenge game. This could be very well the last time Mahomes was going to be on the field with Brady, so he don't want that last taste to be that whooping he took in the Super Bowl. So this is a very, very important game for KC, very important game for Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid, to say, hey, you know what? It's been good, but we that deal right now, and if we see you again, we got 41 more of these for you in the playoffs or in the Super Bowl. So, that was a good game, man. Tom gonna remember that too, though.
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Oh yeah. That's no doubt. let's kind of switch over. When we think about Patrick Mahomes and we think about that offense, as we've seen it 4 weeks in a row, I think it's a good time to say that Cheetah is missed. I think Mahomes is really showing. I think it's kind of like a good and bad thing, right? I think it's more so good for Patrick Mahomes because it shows, even though he was always great when Cheetah was out, that's no doubt. I mean, he was excellent when Cheetah was out. But now, being as though that Cheetah's not on the team, he's actually showing that, look, I don't need somebody to be running butt naked open for me to get him the ball. Like, I can throw into tight coverage. I can lead people open. I can make receivers better than what they are. What type of year would this be for Mahomes if he can put up even close to the numbers he's put up in previous years with Cheetah? We'll start with you, Slim.
This is the solidifier. Like, people say I'm super premature. You know, Baby Goat's in my top 5 all time right now today. Right now today, I've seen enough. You know what I'm saying? People still like, oh, I need to see more. I need to see it over, you know, a bigger sample size. But I've seen enough. And this season, whereas like I knew it would look different, but far as the end results, he's too great for me to feel like, oh, him losing a receiver and keeping Travis and keeping Andy and keeping Bieniemy was going to be more of a negative than it was going to be overall them finding a way to, you know what I'm saying, cook. So for me, I think like it's like you said, it's good, it's great for Mahomes and it's bad for the rest of the league. Like for the rest of the league, you would have wanted him to keep Cheetah, always have that, you know, scapegoat of a, you know, super, you know, game breaking wide receiver, because it allowed him to get complacent at times. Now where he's got to be cerebral week in and week out, that's not good for nobody. That's not good for nobody, because even if you see blips this year, forward, like we're talking about it like he's been in the league for 12 years. Like this is spooky. This is spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the move actually benefited, I think, both parties. I think both parties get a chance to solidify basically their greatness on their own. You know, we had a chance like with Brady and Belichick. We saw them together and what they were able to do together, and it was wonderful. And then we saw them kind of break apart, and you know, Brady's still been kind of living that high life, you know what I'm saying? Belichick been kind of doing this thing. So I think it's neat to see Mahomes doing this thing. I think, you know, him and Andy took this as a challenge. They both have gotten in their bags. And, you know, I don't think we're going to see Mahomes running around crazily in the second half trying to put it together like we saw against Cincinnati in the AFC Championship last game. I think he's, like Slim said, cerebral. He's totally locked in on the nuances of the offense, because I don't have a guy who can just outrun everybody. You know what I'm saying? I got the guy who can do all the work underneath, but I don't have that other guy who can just be special. I can just put it up and he can go get it. So now I got to really, really lock into what's going on and the nuances of the game. And I think it's better. And like, you know what I'm saying? I think it was South said they're much more dangerous because we don't know who getting the ball. You know what I mean? The defenses don't know how to play up. You know what I mean? So, and they got a little run game too. I like the reliance on the run game a little bit more. I like that.
I love that they didn't just give up on Clyde. Because Clyde would have been out of there. Like if I got Mahomes in that offense and it be humming the way it's humming, like there's no way I would have been hard pressed to not just give Pacheco the carries out the start of the gate, because Clyde been so lackluster. I mean, he has been banged up as well, though. It's not like he's just not doing nothing. But, you know, I think he's been, you know, leaving a lot of yards on the field, you know, previous years. So it's definitely good to see them stick with him. And now that he's, you know, giving them some good production.
It's like the lights come on or something for him. It's just like it's been clicked. You know, mind, body, and soul is, you know, is really, really into it. And it's just like he's not trying to think. He's just reacting. Everything is natural now. And they tough, man. They tough.
And maybe to like South Point, maybe, you know, Cheetah leaving, that's a positive for Claire, and kind of like a backdoor cerebral type thing that, hey, look, we need you to be this guy that can give us some breakaway plays like you showed in college. You know what I'm saying?
We need you to do all the stuff Kyler not doing. That's what we need you to do.
And before we move on, just to see Henry's point at first about this being good for both parties, I would definitely you know, second that, because I was a big Tyreek's not top 5, but to see what he's doing with noodle arm, he's definitely top 5. So
Yeah,
definitely, it's definitely valid for both parties.
All right, man.
It's
For all
good
y'all still there, we're gonna come back. We're gonna talk about Ole Miss, Kentucky, Texas A&M, and how big of a step did Florida State take backwards, right?
Hi, I'm Christian Miles, native Washingtonian and real estate agent servicing the Washington metropolitan area. I started my career as an investor and later transitioned to the residential side. I really wanted to leave the investor side because I wanted to connect with people. Building relationships is important to me. I understand the buying and selling process can be challenging. I get it. I've been there. I'm a mom, wife, friend, and neighbor. I absolutely love helping families and connecting with people. Going through the home buying and selling process is stressful enough. When working with me, I make it fun. As a realtor, I think it's important to be able to connect with you. Every detail is important, no matter how small. Let me take care of the heavy lifting while you focus on the joys of finding a new home. Something I live by, people may not remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. With me, it's an experience.
All right, as we come back, Florida State, the Florida State Seminoles, they was on a move, man. If they could have not even win that game, but if they could have been competitive in that game and maybe get, within 10, maybe they could still be formidable. I haven't seen the rankings yet. I don't know if you all have, but I can kind of guess that they're out the top 25.
Yeah, they was barely holding in at
23. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they was at so.
Yeah.
So I know, but do you all think they took a major step back, and do you think that if they could find a way to luster a win over NC State and maybe be competitive against Clemson, they at least put them back in the top 25? Let's start with you, Henry.
I'm gonna say this, man.
Because they look bad, bro. Like,
so here's the thing, man, and I try to be objective even when I look at my squads, man. But even, man, it's hard to really see where your team is really at and accurately evaluate them. Florida State been bad for a minute. Mm-hmm. I think that they are on the right track, no doubt. But are they as close as they thought they were? Clearly not. Clearly not. Clearly not. And they got a lot of work to go. And to be honest with you, we got to see how good the whole conference is. I like what Wake Forest is going. I like what they're doing. Sam Hartman, he looks like the truth. You know what I'm saying? NC State, they put up a decent fight against Clemson. They look pretty good. But again, though, if everybody mid, though, then it's, it kind of look
That's true.
So we got to see it, man. I think they're on the right track. I think they better than they were, yesterday or last year, the year before. But they not ready. They not ready. They not Peter Warwick. They not Dalvin Cook. They not Jimbo Fisher. They not CFP style. Probably no time soon, man. And it takes some time. As a Michigan fan, a proud Michigan fan, sometimes when you fall off, man, it takes some time, man. For real.
Trust me, I know. As a fellow Floridian. Yeah. I love to see it. I've been kind of having a rough start out the gate. So it's kind of been me down here by myself for real. We're not paying the LSU no mind. So Florida State started out pretty good. Miami started out pretty good. Kentucky beat us. They was looking pretty good. And, Georgia and Bama. So I was, I wasn't liking how Florida State was doing anything. So I like them having that dose of reality. But I agree with everything C. Henry said. They might have, the way they started their season, they might have, been a little premature about what they were going to do this season. But they're definitely on the right track. And they got some good things over there to work with.
Yeah, man, but I really think the Florida State fans were really excited about this year. And if they can't keep, if you're a momentum type person, if they come out at NC State flat and get blown out by Clemson, it's like they starting all over. I know they're excited about all they I think they got what, 3 or 4 5 stars committed, I think, so far. I don't know, man. They ain't signed me, you know what I'm saying? They can always jump ship.
They're not signed.
You know what I'm saying? They can always jump ship.
It does take some time though, man. And what folks, have to kind of understand these proud programs like Florida State, Michigan had to understand it as well, man. A lot of these programs around you in your conference, they have gotten better, man. It's no longer big brother, little brother type situations, man. They've gotten better, man. They've upped their game in terms of recruiting, in terms of facilities, in terms of connecting with the players through technology and things of that sort, connecting personally. Also NIL. Now we can, it's just, what I'm saying, big bank take little bank type games going on out here. Now that kind of levels the playing field. You know what I mean? We all got some $1 million donors who want to see us do well. So and want their name on a stadium or a library somewhere. So they got that bread. So we're gonna see things kind of level out. And I think that some of these proud programs who used just to be able to show up and say, hey, I'm Florida State, or I'm Michigan, or I'm Florida, or I'm Ohio State, come holler at us. Folks gonna be looking at it like, nah.
Yeah, Florida State and VIP. Florida State, I'm sorry, Slim, Florida, Miami, they ain't VIP no more. Like, they just can't walk up to the front of the line and just walk right in the clip. Like, nah, you gotta get in line. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is now. You know what I'm saying? Kentucky. I mean, Henry, are they for real? I mean, what are we talking about?
Man,
here?
You know what, man? That was a good game. That wasn't even one I was planning on really watching, man. Too good, much of, man. But this is the time I like. We get into the conferences, man, and the conference, the SEC, the Big 10, Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever. They're gonna beat each other up, man. So you're gonna be looking good one week. But when you come out of that game, man, you got a quick turnaround. You better hope everybody's healthy and ready to go. You ain't party too much. You ain't got too much going on with your grades. You ain't got too much going on with your girl. Because your mind better be right when them lights come on Sunday night. And Kentucky, man, you know what? They came out flat. Man. And Ole Miss jumped on them early. Yeah. And, Kentucky played a strong second half, but they could not close it, man. And Will Levis, I hear a lot about you. And what you supposed to do, the stat line looked okay, but you didn't really get him over the hump. So I don't know, man. It's looking more and more. Like I said, we're gonna find out. Is it
it's starting to shape out, right?
Or is it Georgia, Alabama, and the rest of them? That's what we're gonna find.
Yes. No, that's exactly what it is. Us and Kentucky fans, because of the preseason hype and because of us having a new coach and Kentucky having some sort of like sustained success from the last season. We wanted to jump our quarterbacks into the same tier as Bryce and CJ. Neither is that. And of course, Will is. I think Will's the only, he's the second guy. He's the top of those right after CJ and them. He could go late first or, early second. I don't think Will goes any later than that in the draft because of his, raw ability and things of that nature. And he makes plays. But, I mean, come on. Like, there's no way, like, I had so many caveats for like how I even would have felt comfortable going into the Georgia game. So like to actually think that Kentucky was really going to be making some noise, no. But it is. I mean, it's nice to see them doing well. You hate to have the start that you have and then come out that flat. Like I'd rather lose, a tight game, but to come out flat like that, it really, dampens the season.
Yeah, especially when you got a big game like this against Ole Miss. And a lot of times we think about like these early games could be so they could be so dangerous as far as like voters, right? How they sway one way or another. Because if you haven't, even if it's at the time it's a ranked team, like we think about Ole Miss against Kentucky. Yeah, Kentucky came off flat, but Ole Miss ain't put them away. You know what I'm saying? They allowed them to hang in there. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the year, when it get down to it, like Kentucky might not even be ranked by the time the end of the year. But at the same time, how that's going to look to Ole Miss and how does that kind of equate to the end of the year when you have ranked teams that when the team that they played at the time was ranked, but now they're not ranked anymore and it was kind of hard. Like how does that sway one way or another?
So I want to ask y'all that question. If y'all was on the committee, do you think you yourself would lean more to what the team was when you beat them, or what the team ultimately ends up being towards the end of the season?
Go ahead, Henry.
For me, it's kind of a progression. You
Mm-hmm.
definitely want to see where they were, at the time that y'all played. If it was early, I definitely think that there's a lot of improvement that can happen, during the season. But I also feel like, if there is some, you should get some type of a boost, if you will, if you play a more competitive non-conference, schedule. Because we can look at some of these teams, even with Michigan being one of them, we can look at them and say, well, yeah, they were good early, but they didn't really play nobody. We don't really know how good they were. You know what I'm saying? Now they starting to play some other teams, and we see the margin of victory is a little bit, they still winning, but the margin of victory is a lot, closer now. But is that because they're not a good team? Is that because they're still, adjusting to, playing folks with that type of talent, that caliber of talent, and where they going to be at and come the end of November? You know what I mean? So you got to keep it together. But I will say this. I think that the conferences, the big conference, the Power 5 conferences, they get a lot of bias because of their rankings. Like you say, we look at a Kentucky and we look at a Ole Miss, and we're going to say that both of these teams are ranked and they played a tight game or whatever. And it's going to be somebody in the SEC who's going to accumulate 3-4 losses. But at the end of the year, they still going to be hanging around 22, 23, because 2 or 3 of their losses are going to be to ranked opponents. You know what I mean? So it's a little iffy on how you kind of look at that. But I do think that the teams in the power conferences do kind of get a little bit of a bias in terms of the voters, and it kind of depends on your record, your history. You know what I mean? Your body of work, not just maybe this year, but consistently.
How you feel about your own question, Slim?
For me, I think so. All in all, I think that everything as far as that committee is a slippery slope, man. But me personally, I think I would lean more to how the team fares later on down. Like if you beat a ranked team, like are they still ranked, or did you beat them and now they haven't done nothing for four weeks straight, and they kind of reeling from it, or what I'm saying? Because then you can one can easily look at that as, okay, going into that game, we expected that team that you beat to be good. But in all actuality, y'all showed us that they weren't, and then they never got back from that. So I think I would lean more towards how the teams look to in totality throughout the season. But like C. Henry said, you can't negate anything. Like you gotta play. Like everything has to play a part into the decisions on that committee, because no two scenarios going to be the same, especially when, everybody don't got SEC competition and things of that nature. So, it's a slippery slope, man. I wouldn't want to be on that committee.
Man, at the end of the year, though, man, like I said, man, it's going to all shake out, man. It's going to be a couple teams that's upset, but really they're going to be, they just really save themselves from getting slaughtered, man, by Georgia or Alabama, man. So, so that's what it comes down to, man.
Yeah, it's definitely that way.
So Oklahoma, Texas A&M, they starting to free fall, man. Where are we with Texas A&M, man? Like, is it?
I don't know how to feel about them.
Yeah, I don't.
Everybody. I haven't been watching. I haven't been paying them any mind because my Gators been kind of throwing me for a loop myself. But everybody was telling me about the oil money and all of these, transfers, this and that and this. They was gonna be the sleeper. I'm saying we're gonna be the sleeper, but everybody feeling like Texas A&M was like the real sleeper in the SEC, and it's not amounting to too much as far as the games go. And it just shows it even if you do got the pull to get those players in, it really would take a really, really good coach to make that all mesh in 1 year. Because we see in professional sports when a bunch of star players get together, it don't necessarily materialize in that first year. So to be trying to do it with college students who, dealing with just life in general. Like, yeah, no, that's a tough thing. So I don't want to just harp on them. Oklahoma, come on, man.
Yeah. So
everything they had good is in USC.
Yeah, I kind of agree in terms of Oklahoma, man. They had a great coach who had a great, culture going on. He could recruit, got folks to Norman, and he left, man. And they got the guy from Clemson, but he clearly isn't the coach, man. And he clearly, he may be a solid recruiter, but he's having a hard time getting that program going. But again, I believe this is just his first year, so give him some time. Let's see how it goes. Excuse me. When it comes down to Jimbo, man, Jimbo been at this game a long, long time, man. And a lot of these coaches, man, you have to be able to adapt on all levels. I think that Jimbo definitely can recruit. He definitely can get guys there. He has the money and the financial backing there at Texas A&M. But it's something about, and I don't know if it's him, I don't know if it's his coaching staff, his coordinators. It's something about the development of talent that's going on there. They haven't really had a real good quarterback. Kellen Mond is probably the best quarterback they've had in a couple of years. But again, I think he was kind of mid a little bit. And you just haven't seen them really put it together. Jimbo ain't putting nothing together, man, since Jameis was in school, man.
Yeah.
He had a quarterback, he had some talent. Jameis,
so I kind of like, what is it like? It's not like he's not used to this type of backyard recruiting. I mean, he's been in this is his whole coaching career pretty much. Like so I don't, he has the recruiting, but then it's just like it can't translate to the field, right? Like you say, they have all the backing they need, they have everything that they need, but it just can't translate. And how long? Because like the like I say, the NIL, as we continue to progress with this NIL, right? I mean, people getting all types of deals. You can get I could pull something on my desk, like what kind of a Skillcraft pencil deal, you know what I'm saying? $20,000 Skillcraft pencil deal. Like, it's gonna be all types of crazy, right? Degree. Like it's gonna be, it's just gonna be just like the bowl games, like all type of NIL deals. And at some point, like when we think about the not the team president. What is it called? The ND. What is it called in college?
The athletic director.
Yeah, the AD, the athletic director. At some point, like these athletic will be pressured to make these moves, man. People putting all this money up, getting you all these 4 or 5 star recruits, and you not performing. I think coaches gonna have a shorter leaf, and I don't think this is something we talked about on the show, Henry. But how do you think those NIL deals is going to start coming in and the money? I mean, we've always had boosters, but now it's like legal, so now they can talk about it more, right? They can make more demands. Like, how you think that's going to like affect? I mean, Jimbo is a quote unquote, I guess you can call him a legend in this game or whatever. But at some point, everyone is expendable, right?
Yeah. To your point, I think everyone is expendable, no doubt about it. We just saw a couple coaches get fired this year. You saw Scott Frost got fired at Nebraska. He had not been doing a good job for years.
Got him out of there.
He got him up out of there during the season. He one of their greats. You know what I mean? He won the national championship there playing. And then you look at the, Paul Chryst at the University of Wisconsin. Now they've had a pretty strong program, consistent program for years. Been a major contender over in the Big Ten West for years. Been to a couple of Big Ten championships. But again, they're trying to raise the level of play there, I guess. And they felt like, what he had been doing last year and the beginning of this year wasn't good enough. So he's out of there. I think for teams like them, they made a mistake, I believe. I think Paul Chryst is a very, very solid coach. He runs a very, very clean program. He was starting to get a lot of different recruits from a lot of different areas to come to Madison, Wisconsin, getting a lot of diverse recruits to come to Madison, Wisconsin, which ain't the most diverse area in America. That's right. I think, like you said, the leashes for some folks are going to get shorter, and they're not going to, be able to, mess around, build their programs, if you will. But at the same time, those NILs, though, those are not coaching those kids. Those are not telling them how to beat cover 3. Those are not telling them how to get out there and stand in front of Chris Olave's and all these other top
Marvin Harrison
athletes.
Jr.
Yeah,
oh
yeah. You can have all the deals in the world. You got the technique and the wheels. It ain't gonna help you come Saturday. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I do think it's gonna, it's gonna affect some folks. And again, the folks who can really, really adapt and play. are going to be the ones who succeed, man.
So, all right. So when y'all say put pressure on these coaches to make something happen, do you think it's a matter of like a flash in the pan, like just give me something for all of the money we putting into it, or do y'all think like AEDs and the boosters and the money behind it looking to try to be the next Clemson, the powerhouse outside of the SEC? Like a Clemson, a Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State, one of those three.
Everybody want to be the
outside
top
of
dog.
the SEC power.
Yeah, everybody. I think everybody want to be the top dog. No doubt about it. And they want to spend to get there. But you got to be realistic. Like we're talking about Maryland, man. I'm wearing the green, not because what I'm saying I'm from Ireland, but what I'm saying my fellas in green, the Stark families. What I'm saying I'm a cousin of them. I ain't really in. I'm a cousin. They in mourning right now because the Maryland boys came in and slapped them up real tough. And we tried to tell them last week, hey, these boys ain't for play. Y'all better have y'all stuff together. But they didn't have it together. So now the brother, Mel Tuck, he came in here 2 years. He beat Michigan 2 years in a row. Last year they was 11-2. He worked that into a $90 million contract. Everybody in green they were in utopia. Sparta forever. Now he done lost 3 straight. They like, man, how did he get us for 90 million? Like wait a minute. He didn't get y'all for 90. He was already the contract. Y'all felt threatened that he may leave, that his name was hot like fish grease. Y'all came with the bread. You know what I'm saying? But not accept. Sure. So again, I mean, how quickly it can turn, man. I mean, just last year they was 11-2. They was ready to go. They had thoughts of going to that next level. But again, program building is more than just getting kids here. It's more than just getting kids through a transfer portal and throw them into a pot. Like my boy said, throw everything into a pot and telling me it's gumbo. You got to put it together, man. You got to simmer. You got to season that boy right. You got to stir that boy right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You got to have your roux together. You know what I mean? You just can't throw it all together, cook it up for 30 minutes and say, here you go. That rice going to be nasty, man. That rice going to be hard.
Nasty gumbo.
The most important part is gonna be nasty. It just
nasty
gonna look good.
Gumbo rice.
Good.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely see some changes though.
Yeah, I think for me, if these guys are spending a lot of, they spending money, man. They not paying for flash in the pan. They paying for consistency. They want to be on that high level. They want their school to be talked about, year in, year out, even during the off season and all that stuff. They like you said, they want this they paying for these programs to build and take elite steps in being competitive and winning a national championship. So they not putting their money in for flash in the pan. That's just crazy if they are doing that. Because then, they can kick me a few dollars and I can go over there and point a couple of guys, to run a few fly patterns or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then, then they can kick me out and I'll be happy, that'll be a little bit of generational, kickback. So I'll be good with it. But, they trying to build, man. They want consistency. They want to win. They want to win. And that's what it's all about. They spending that money to win that trophy, man, to win that trophy. That's what it's about.
Yeah, and I kind of thinking like, the NIL, I want these players to get paid too, but like, is these players gonna start thinking like some like NBA players or whatever? I'm gonna go here. I'm like that, right? I'm 5-star. I'm gonna go here, collect this 200 G, change my mind. I'm gonna go here, collect this, blah blah blah. Then my last destination, collect this. Then I'm gonna go ball out and get drafted. Like as like you may have a guy that's thinking like that, but what can they do? But that's gonna be something tricky as people begin to start really manipulating these NIL deals, because I don't know what the contract looks like. Like you have to play for this team for a year to sign this deal.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know what that looks like.
I don't think it's any type of binding deal to you and the team.
Didn't no boy from what school, what quarterback is there? I think he literally got a bag and jetted.
That's the guy from Ohio State. He went to Ohio State, got the money. You know what I mean? He didn't win the job there. He did stay for a year, but I don't know. I don't think you're obligated. I think that whatever deal you have is a short-term deal. I don't think they're giving you a 5-year deal because they don't even know if you're gonna ball. You might be a scrub. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You may never make it. So I think it's kind of a 1 year or a short-term deal or whatever that they give. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not an expert. And then you kind of go off that. But yeah, it was the quarterback from Texas, Ewers or whatever his name is.
Yeah, the dude that balled out against Alabama.
Shouldn't it be some kind of parameters though? They need to work towards some type of parameters at some point because I can't see them wanting to put money in the kid and then he just literally just take the money and then bounce somewhere else, you know, without some type of commitment or these
folks now, all these deals may not be, the most professional. There's still probably some leg breakers out here. You know what I'm saying? It's a handshake deal, but if you get like you want to break the parameters, we can break some of your parameters.
Hey, break some of your parameters.
None of that.
Godfather.
Hey, look, man.
Like that, man.
These players out here trying
Sopranos is giving out NIL deals too.
Yep, the hood giving them out. Bloods, Crips, all of them probably giving them out.
Yes, sir.
When I get a handshake,
Rap Snacks giving them out. Everybody giving them out.
Yeah, man. You think about Cal. No. Yeah, you think about Cal, USC, and all of them, man. All these boosters don't wear suits, bro.
Yeah, man. So
USC gonna be back.
You better be careful what you dealing with. Who you dealing with, man?
Yeah, crazy, man. All right, man. Let's get back, man. Let's go to another commercial. Get back. Let's talk. When we get back, let's do Ravens Buffalo. That was a good one.
Woo. Yes.
Do you sit back and say, man, these walls just need something? Feel like it's time to freshen up your place with something new? If your answer is yes, then it's time to call Rob of Lewis Paints Plus, the accent wall expert. Rob will even give you a free estimate on how he can transform those boring walls in your home. To book today, call 240-418-5241 or reach out on Instagram at Lewis Paints Plus. And for 10% off, tell him Red Zone sent you.
Ravens Buffalo. First thoughts, Mayo.
I think we all picked Ravens, just because they were at home.
And the weather, the
weather,
right?
Right.
Wasn't that bad.
Right. And sit back and look at it now in hindsight, Buffalo, to me, weather then shouldn't really affect their play because they play in Buffalo, and when wintertime in Buffalo, that's one of those places you don't want to be. Josh Allen, I mean, the defense tightened up and Josh Allen came through. I guess Baltimore got a taste, man, of how to come back from a deep deficit and just wait a minute, what I'm trying to say. They gave up this lead, so they did the same thing to Miami. So what's going on with Baltimore? What's going on with them in the fourth quarter? I mean, what is these collapses that they are experiencing right now defensively? Just giving up such, comfortable leads, you would think, and we're having Lamar Jackson and being able to control the clock, run the ball, those type of things, and they just seem to give up these leads. Granted, like I said, Josh Allen, that's a different breed. I can expect something from him of that. So I'm not shocked, but that was a good, man. It was a good way. I watched that. I watched the last quarter of that, and that was a good game, man. For them, put them back in that position to win that game, get that field goal and win the game. So what's going on with Baltimore, man? Why are they not stopping teams, on the back end in the fourth quarter? What's happening with them?
Yeah, I think so. Like, Henry, I think when we think about the Ravens, and we know it's all about Lamar Jackson, but it's like Lamar Jackson and then whatever else you want to try to talk about, right? So when Mark Andrews only have 2 catches for 15 yards, that's not successful for that Ravens offense. Like everything, and when we think about Lamar Jackson, yes, but everything else kind of involves Mark Andrews. And if you can hold Mark Andrews, now these guys that people don't really look at as threats, like Duvernay and Bateman, now those guys gotta ball out. When we know Lamar has so much chemistry with Mark Andrews, I mean, like where are and I like J.K. Domas. I mean, even though he only had like around 3 yards of carry yesterday, I think him getting that work is going to be good for them for the long haul. But when Mark Andrews is not, if you take Mark Andrews out the game, regardless of when you do it within the game, I think you have a good chance of beating the Ravens. Is that an over exaggeration, you think?
No, I don't think it's over exaggeration. He's clearly the number one weapon, the number one option in that passing offense. And definitely it will behoove any defense, man, to try to limit his, his effect on the game. But with that being said, man, Lamar, man, I picked the Baltimore Ravens. I thought this was going to be a great game, a showcase game, if you will, a chance for Lamar to ball out, on the big stage with Josh. And I got to be quite honest, man. Lamar left a lot to be desired on the field, man. 144 yards passing, 2 interceptions, 1 bad interception. To your point, Deuce, about Andrews, they did a great job defensively against Andrews.
Yep.
What type of team that Buffalo is. I didn't expect them to do that, especially with their safeties not being in that game. They did a great job. But at the other hand, my boy Rashad Bateman, man, you dropped 2 to 3 balls, man, that was put right on you. You got
that's always been his issues, man.
You got to have those. You got to have those catches, man, and those were throws that Lamar put right on him. If you are an NFL decent receiver, a professional receiver, you have to make those catches, man, to kind of help him out. And he didn't do it. I don't want to put it all on him because defensively, if you're a Super Bowl contender, you got to be able to get after the quarterback, especially somebody like Josh Allen and the guy in LA as well. And them getting 1 sack a game is not going to do it. The only one who's covering somebody is Marcus Peters sometimes back there. I don't know if Marlon Humphrey played in this game or not, but they need some help. They need some help, man. They need some help on that back seven as well. Actually, the whole defense, they need to get after the quarterback. It's not a normal Baltimore squad right now.
And that's the thing. Like we had guests on Friday talking about the Ravens, and that was one of my things, Slim, that I brought up. Is like, to us, this defense is underperforming from what we're used to. I mean, what the hype was outside of Marcus Peters. I mean, he is statistically top 5 cornerback right now in the league. Well, prior to this game, I haven't seen it lately in the league right now. Outside of him, man, they not looking good. I mean, they let Miami come back. It's just like they just collapse in the second half, as to Mayo point, and it's solely on the defense. I mean, Lamar's going to do Lamar. He's going to put points up on the board. But at some point, like, this defense, man, they got to get it together. And they're supposed to be better than what they were last year. I mean, that's what we were told.
I will say this. The encouraging sign is that they did hold Miami and Buffalo in check. I'm not going to say for the majority of the game, for a large portion of the game.
3 quarters, about 3 quarters.
So I don't know if it's the adjustments to the adjustments that need to be worked on, but they definitely got to figure out how to close out games. And Lamar, I mean, again, I don't want to put it all on him because it was a team loss, but he's got to show up bigger. 144, he has 73 rushing, but he's got to show up bigger, man. And they got to show up bigger around him too, the surrounding cast.
Yeah, Lamar definitely got to play better, but for me, like, what's the point of having Justin Tucker? Like, honestly, what's the point of having Justin Tucker? Like, if you just not going to do the easy work, like, go up 3. And I mean, like, if the defense has to be like lose you the game, like, let me see them do that before I'm just like, especially when the offense had went completely stale. Like, what I'm saying, the controller died the whole second half, and then they finally
just hit buttons.
You know how when you plug the controller back up and you hit the X button too fast to resume the game, and then now you done picked your play, and it's like, dang, I got call time. Like I just don't be understanding. Their secondary has been leaky through 4 games and things of that nature. You would definitely like to see Jason Oweh, I think that's his name. You would like to see Oweh kind of build off of what he did last year. He showed some flashes, but I thought after last year, him coming out of college with no sacks and the type of flash plays he was giving them last year, I thought he was for sure going to be a game record this year or close to that, taking the steps towards becoming a game record. But you know what I'm saying? Like C. Henry said, they're not getting no rush for real. And I mean, like, I didn't know who was the running quarterback out there. Was it Lamar or was it Josh? Because that man is different, man. That dude's different. And I hate to see these games for Lamar because one bad game for Lamar takes away all the good games, and now it's back to he can't throw, lame arm, and all of this. So, you know what I'm saying? It was tough to see them lose that way with him, going completely silent in the second half and having 2 turnovers. But Harbaugh's got to be better too. Like Harbaugh's definitely got to be better, especially as special teams guy and things of that nature. And they're normally when they lose games is because they're short on the comeback. So to see them giving up leads like this, with the formula to salt games away with a Harbaugh who's super vet savvy, super special team, super cerebral head coach type of guy. It seems like Harbaugh's one of those guys like he don't always go for it, but when he does go for it, seems like the right times to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So and I don't know how true this is because again we're fanatics, but it seems like a lot of people are saying that Harbaugh is like when he's going for it on 4th down is because he's asking Lamar, and of course 12 times out of
they showed a few clips of that last year.
12 times out of 10, Lamar is going to say yes. He's never going to say no. Number one, he's that great, and number 2, that's just the type of confidence and the type of bravado that he got and moxie in his game. So like sometimes you gotta be like, you know what, things ain't been going the way we wanted to go. And against certain teams, I'm all for that. Like against certain teams, you can take bigger risks, but against a Buffalo, seeing how they're clawing back in the game, just go ahead and run Justin Tucker out there, take your 3 and figure it out from there. Man.
Man, Bateman, he has to make those catches. Huh? Like you can't expect Super Lamar every week to just keep bailing you out. Man, out there running for his life. He trying to be a playmaker, and when he get time and he's set and he throwing you the ball, like you got to make those catches.
You gotta make them, man. You gotta make them.
You have to make those catches, man.
They traded away Hollywood for him, and then on top of that,
he was dropping passes too.
But that's what I'm saying.
I see your point, though.
They get rid of Hollywood because of Hollywood wanting to be in a more pass happy offense. So now Bateman, you by default you move to the number 1 guy out, wide receiver wise outside of Mark Andrews. But then they showed their confidence in you by not going crazy in the draft. They got tight ends like to help Mark, to help Lamar, to help the middle of the field. They didn't go get wide receivers to come in here and compete with you. So the fact that you basically giving them your ass tickets by doing what Hollywood did and drop, it's not like you like CeeDee Lamb, he drop a pass early, he make up for it. You Jerry Judy in it, like you dropping critical passes in critical times. Like that's not how you reward a team for showing their confidence in you, man.
Go ahead, man.
I didn't know there was levels of drop guys who drop.
Oh yeah,
CD drops compared to Jerry Judy drops.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
CD drop. You got the TO drops. Like we all know TO had drops, but TO was still TO. You know what I'm saying? The drop.
That's CD. That's CD. Then.
And then you got guys who just got snake hands. Like you got Josh Doxson who don't want to catch a cold. So it is what it is.
Right. So that's Jerry Judy. I got you.
Yeah.
and then you got like Amari Cooper, the dudes that actually get better. You know what I'm saying? They get drops early and then they get better. And then some people they gonna drop 1 out of 5, man. You just hope it ain't the one that you need.
But I'm what I was saying is
Go ahead, man.
I just think that we talking about Lamar and how he got to be a super guy. I mean, he's playing a real good team yesterday, man. Buffalo Bills is that team, man. I know they lost in Miami. I can't wait to see that rematch. So I hope Tua is healthy and playing. When that come around. But they play Buffalo, man. Buffalo is no slouch, man. They are, to me, they are the favorite in the AFC. So, to lose like that was a little bit, disheartening. But overall, they play Buffalo, man. Buffalo ain't no joke, man. They pretty balanced. I think they just need for them to run game got to be much more consistent because they don't run the ball well. But outside of that, man, they play great defense, special teams. And then they got out this world quarterback right now, man. And that was just a tough matchup, man. Sorry that they gave up a lead like that. I think that's a little more just coaching, man.
It's all coaching. I mean, they down to like practice squad DB players, and they still out there balling.
Yeah, I mean, Dane Jackson has been back. Poyer did play against the Ravens, but I definitely hear what you're saying, Mayo. But when you in that Ravens organization, they're not looking at Lamar as they might feel like Patrick Mahomes is number one guy, but they're not looking at Lamar as anything less than two. You know what I'm saying? They're looking at him to do the same things that the Josh Allens and all of these quarterbacks are doing. So for me, if they would have just came out and just came out flat as early in the season, if they would have just came out flat and Buffalo kind of ran away with it, that's me personally. I would feel more like, okay, we can just go ahead, chalk that and keep it moving with our season. But to be right there and to lose the game yourselves, like that's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt.
I kind of feel like they choked it away. I feel like they were definitely in control of the game. I feel like they are a talented team. I know that we say that Buffalo is the favorite, but I'm gonna speak to that in the last word. But I feel like, to me, these two teams are on the same tier. I mean, they look at each other like, we should be we toe to toe over here, and if we want Lamar to get the accolades of some of these other guys, you know what I mean?
He has to beat them.
He's got to beat them in the regular season, and he's got to beat them in the playoffs. I mean, it's no other way around it. We can't keep talking about he's as good as this, and why don't we, compare him to that person or give this person the same grief that we give Lamar, when these folks right now, even though Josh ain't won a Super Bowl, but right now he's going a little farther than what Lamar has, and kind of has put his team on his back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, just like, you said about Buffalo, I look at Baltimore and said they got a good defense, or should have a good defense. They got a special teams, you know what I'm saying? They got a great player. So, and again, they were in control of this game. Like Slim said, it wasn't like they came in here and got blown out. They were in control of this game for the most part. And, Buffalo, man, they one-dimensional than the mug. So it's like, what's coming. It's not really a surprise.
They don't run the ball. They don't run the ball.
So, unless it's Josh, man.
The quarterback design runs with Josh is really their run game.
He be looking like a pale Cam Newton out there, man.
He look like a tank. He look like a tank, man.
It's ridiculous, man.
But just like we know, man, at some point, man, it's gonna work. But at some point, it's not gonna work. So at some point, he's gonna break down. Because when you think about it, when you look at him and you look at Cam, like, you have to start finding a way to put them in a running back category, right? Like, as much as they run, running backs is what, 28 to 30. As much as they run, I mean, he might give you 8 runs a game. So at some point, man, that stuff gonna start wearing on him, man. Go ahead,
man. Do you think Josh got a I think Josh right now, and especially at this point in his game, I think he's a better, quarterback too. I mean, in the pocket, Cam was never an accurate guy.
He's a better quarterback for sure. But when you talk about the running, he's still getting hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he getting hit. It ain't like he out there joint sliding and running out of bounds.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Josh taking on punishment. He taking hits. Cam took on hits. So you gotta you gotta project that in the future and definitely say, man, we want you to kind of limit that. But they call those plays too.
They call them. They call them.
That was a design plays. I mean, literally like freaking student body. Everybody roll left, and Josh just rolled behind everybody, and then he just, and then he running through dudes. Yeah, they got to look at that in the long run. Same thing with Lamar. I mean, that's the concern with him too, because they call design run plays with him. They gotta. I think both, with quarterbacks like that, you gotta still protect them. I mean, because they tough guys, man, and they want to take the hits. They want to go out there. They beyond prove that they are out there to run. They not sliding. They gonna run through guys. They gonna lay their bodies on the line. It's just how long you want them to keep doing that. You got to kind of project that out a little bit and kind of limit that, I would think. But I would love to see this matchup, man, in the playoffs, man. I would love to see this in the playoffs. When both teams have finally gotten through the nutrition of the season and built ups and downs, gone through, the scheduling and all that stuff. And I would love to see the game in the playoffs. I think it would be I think it'll be better than what we saw yesterday. Come playoff time, the matchups gonna be so fierce.
My ideal divisional round matchups in the AFC would be Kansas City versus Chargers and Bills versus Ravens to see who go to the AFC Championship.
Yeah, speaking of that, that's kind of pivot. Let's talk about these young quarterbacks, and I'm calling Zach Wilson young quarterback because, he had his debut and he's out there. Man, one day, man, we just gonna have some quarterback, man. We'll be able to talk trash, man. He out there grinning on everybody, man. He looking good, man. Look like he's fully healthy. Then you got Pickett, who came out there. I think he threw 3 picks, 10, 12, 3 picks. But they're going young. I don't know, I think that's gonna be the move going forward. But what are we thinking about these two young quarterbacks? We'll start with you, Henry.
Zach Wilson. I like what I saw last year. He was still a little bit raw, still learning the game. But they were surrounding him with some weapons. I do like what they are doing out there in New York. He's got Elijah Moore. He's got Garrett Wilson. He's got Corey Davis. Got our guy Ty Conklin. We're gonna talk about him again this week in fantasy football. So he's got some weapons in the proven offensive line. So they're giving him the pieces to be successful. Still got to see more of them. I didn't see much of them in college, so I got to see more of them. As far as Kenny Pickett, man, I liked him in college. I really, really did, but I really hope that he would get a chance to sit and kind of do the role of Trey, if you will. You know what I mean? Because competition-wise, he didn't really play a lot of, high-level football. They were, really a bunch of spread out stuff. Concepts are a lot easier when you're working with that spread. It isn't the pro game, but I think that he does give the Steelers a chance to win with his athleticism. Their offensive line is kind of terrible. So, but the 3 picks that didn't really help the cause, man. So I don't know. Jury's still out. And it's something about somebody who wears gloves, man, no matter what the weather is or what's going on, man. It's very serial killerish to me, man. I don't know, man. They came out, said he has small hands, and ever since he's been wearing these cooking gloves out here playing ball, man. I don't know, man. I don't know if he the quarterback or if he the chef, man. I don't know what's going on, man.
I mean, Peyton started wearing a glove, didn't he? Towards the end. Didn't Peyton start wearing a glove towards the end? Oh no, Ben did. Yeah. Big Ben did. Maybe it's a Pittsburgh thing.
Peyton had a glove in Denver.
He did, yeah.
Peyton had a glove too, yeah.
He had 2 of them. This guy wore 2 of them. It ain't just the throwing hand. He gloved totally up. Like, what's wrong, man? Like it's a COVID ball or something. Like ain't nobody been tested or nothing. He don't want COVID out there, man.
And Peyton got old. He couldn't grip the ball like he used to.
That's what it was.
Problem, man.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mayo. What you think about these Pickett and Wilson?
Yeah, Wilson's still, jury's still out, man. I got this thing with, quarterbacks. I feel like the young quarterbacks, I think teams fail quarterbacks more than the quarterbacks themselves. I mean, Jamarcus Russell, you got guys like that, special cases that, they failed themselves all across the board. But system-wise, you got to get these guys time to develop. So I'm not really ready to judge Wilson yet. I know he looked good yesterday. But what he's going to look like next week, it's going to be up and down. Kenny Pickett, I was not ready to see him, in week 4. For my thoughts, I know he seemed to have been the most polished out of the quarterbacks coming out in this past draft, but that again said this wasn't a great draft for quarterbacks. So I would not have wanted to see Kenny Pickett, right now. I think Mike Tomlin definitely trying to scramble a little bit with him, getting him out there because, Mike Tomlin has not had a losing season in Pittsburgh, and they're well on their way to doing that this year. And Pickett is not that guy to just pull them out of the dumps and carry them. So I'm not ready to judge either one. It's still a long way to go, but I am suspect that, man. I mean, you out here with gloves on and you 22, and
Man.
to me, where you wear gloves for grip. And
He
you
was
can't
out
grip
there,
the
man. It
ball
was
as a
100
quarterback.
degrees this summer out there, man. He got his gloves on.
Pittsburgh gets cold, and he, and
It ain't cold now, though.
His
Yeah,
hands
I mean,
stink.
yeah, I just that's
His
just crazy,
hands
man.
stink.
Yeah, I know he played at the University of Pitt. I mean, he was in that same locker room, so they saw him. But dude, that just threw me when I saw him at the was the Senior Bowl, put on gloves. That's the gloves. He tried to go without them, and he just couldn't throw without them. And he put them on.
He in Huntsville, Alabama, whatever part of Alabama that
Right.
is. You know it's hot down there, man.
Right, Mobile, down in Mobile,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh man, red flags were just flowing, all through. I'm not high on him. I hope he can do well, but I'm really not high. But I don't want to judge him right now. I really don't.
I wonder.
Somebody used that with Teddy Bridgewater.
He does.
Appreciate you, Hulk.
I wonder though, with this move, and I know we talk about Tomlin's, streak of not having a losing
winning seasons. Yeah, he haven't had a losing season.
Is this kind of the white flag? Like, you know what? It may not happen.
He was.
So we
I kind of look at it the other way.
The
I look at
moment
it
they
trying to save
made
the season.
They added a game and he couldn't go 8-8. He was cooked. He was going to go 8-9 one of these years. It was bound to happen. He was going 8-9, man.
Once they made it an uneven schedule, it was a wrap.
He was cooked.
Check.
Just for Mike. They did that just for Mike, just to be petty.
But he can though. Like I know there are a handful of coaches, but he the coach that can be like, he go to the owner and be like, look, yeah, we ain't we might give you 5-6 this year. You know what I'm saying? And he deserves it, but I just don't think the competitiveness
would happen to him. I mean, he would be unemployed
so white
for
flag already
milliseconds.
Yeah, but they won't though. Like you have to retire. What they had, 3 coaches the last 50, 60 years or something like that? Cowher.
Yeah, Cowher and him.
And him. So I think he's good. Slim, what you think? Well, I guess you kind of told us.
Zach Wilson's very polarizing, man. He give me like wild Jay Cutler, wild Johnny Manziel vibes, but he can throw, man. And I like throwers of the football. Like, you can always keep me on your bandwagon to the very last moment if you can throw the football all over the field accurately. And Zach can do that, but then he had a Jay Cutler moment where he just loved the other team more than he loved his own targets. So the Jets, especially what they did with that O-line, Elijah Vera Tucker is a dog up front playing both guard positions, and then played tackle for them against Pittsburgh and gave up no sacks and maybe like 3 hurries or something like that. And they got some young weapons, 2 running backs, 3 decent wide receiver targets, 2 of them in Elijah and Gurr with the potential to be, really good weapons for them. Conklin has been nothing but a complete shocker. You know what I'm saying? You always, there's always those guys that have the couple of weeks, whether they filling in for somebody that got hurt or whatever, but he just been making the most of his opportunities, and it don't look like it's going to necessarily stop. So that's I'm very torn on Zach Wilson, but I love the prospect, love the throwing ability, but the decision making kind of throws me off. I'm hoping that's just early on in your Jets life, you got to kind of get that out of your system. when it comes to Kenny Pickett, I'm not sold on anything but that he's a better option today than Trubisky to get a W. The way that offense is set up, but I thought. I just knew for a fact Tomlin was going to take Malik Willis. So the fact that he got Kenny Pickett, I don't feel sorry for him that he's about to go 7-10, 8-9. I don't think he wins less than 7 though. Like as bad as I think that team,
he's just too good of a coach. He's just too good of a coach.
Yeah, man, he's too much of a leader of men for them to not win a couple games that you just don't expect them to. Whether the team they going against that week is a little bit more banged up than they would like to be going against Pittsburgh. Or, just how, I'm saying, he just savvy. Like, he won 8 games with, like, Duck Hodges and whoever, Mason Rudolph. Like, Kenny Pickett and Trubisky ain't those two.
Yeah, my man Hawk said they'll be better than us. Well,
hey, Hawk, that ain't saying much, my
be
boy.
better. They may be. They'll be. Kind of thinking of Coughlin. We're gonna come back to. We got a little bit of fantasy in you, Henry.
Yeah,
man. All right, we're gonna come back. We're gonna get into some fantasy, and I'm just thinking about Coughlin. He was a 3rd round pick, so not sure of how much of a surprise he should be though, but. I think they picked him hoping he'll play. I know he was kind of deep on the roster, but he's kind of showed over the last week that he's ready to take the throne. So let's go to a commercial. We'll come back with some fantasy and then our last thought.
The calendar says that summer is ending soon, but we're still outside. So when it's time to hop in your ride, make sure you book the best mobile detailing service in the DMV, Miles Detailing. Call 240-273-4018 or contact on Instagram at Miles Detailing to book your service today. Mention Red Zone in the Lab podcast for 10% off detail services only. Ride in style with Miles Detailing, that is.
And to my man Hawk, ain't no more 500 finishes, bro. You either gonna go 8-9 or 9-8. Ain't no more 500 finishes. So Tomlin gonna have to do one or the other.
Magic this year.
Yeah, man, I just can't see him having a losing season, man. Not Tomlin, man. He's just too good of a coach, man. But again, it depends on the players, man. But what do we have for some fantasy? What you got for us?
Talk about, man, some of the studs and duds from last week, man. I'm gonna actually, man, pat myself on the back, man, because my Lions did not win, but we gave you guys a couple of winning suggestions who to grab up last week, man. So we started off with Goff. So he's one of my first studs. 379 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and that one Matt Stafford like pick 6. If you guys forgot about him, hey, he gave us a reminder this week. So going forward, he does have some favorable games coming up on his schedule, so he might be a guy to pick up if you're a Tua owner, a guy who are streaming quarterbacks. He's a guy that you may want to look at this week. Also,
he's out next week too.
I'm sorry,
Tua is out next week.
Oh yeah, Tua's out.
Yeah.
Tua's out for sure. He needs to sit down for 3, 4, 5 weeks, maybe. He might be. We may not see him this season, but also Geno Smith in that game.
We should not see him.
Geno Smith, my Detroit Lions made him look like, man. I mean, Warren Moon meets Fran Tarkenton, man. He was all over the place. 320 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 7 rushes for 49 yards and a touch as well. That guy was getting busy. Also told you guys about Jamal Williams last week, man. 108 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, man. He came through for us. A couple other running backs. This was like the return of the running back this week. For all you guys who drafted running backs in rounds 1 or 2 and was wondering what the hell is going on, they showed up this week. Miles Sanders, man, of the Philadelphia Eagles, 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. Miles, you're going to finally make it off my bench and into my lineup 4 weeks into the season. You done forced your way in there, brother. Another great standout, Josh Jacobs, man. 144 total yards and 2 touchdowns, man. He came up big time this week. For folks who put him in the line, who are brave enough to put him in the lineup, you definitely reap the benefits of that. And then we had some oldies but goodies, man. Derrick Henry, 114 yards and a touch. And my man Austin Eckler, welcome to the
Yes, he won me a game.
3 touchdowns, in this game.
About time, man. About time.
Name some for next week, baby. Just want to talk a little bit about, before we get to some guys that you might want to pick up, I want to talk about some guys who went down this week. Unfortunately, Javonte Williams just got on tore his ACL, PCL, and LCL. He's going to be out the rest of the season.
Yeah,
so
I got him in a couple.
If you're a Melvin Gordon owner, you're about to come up. You know what I'm saying? I told you guys to try to pair him if possible. But if you're a Melvin Gordon owner, you're definitely about to reap the benefits of that. But watch his health too, because I think he's on the injury report with the neck injury. He fumbled a couple times. They thought he got.
Yeah, they benched him neck injury.
So check out his availability going forward. Also, like you said earlier, Deuce, Cordell Patterson is going to be placed on the IR. Something's going on with his knee. He's going to miss 4 games as of now. So kind of short term. So one of the guys that you definitely want to look at, we're going to talk about a little bit later.
See, this the point in the season, Henry, when these injuries and bye week start, week 6?
Week 6.
Yeah, so this is the point, injuries, the bye week starting up. Like, let's see who really good at their draft. You guys out there that's 3-1 and 3-4-0. We gonna see. You got them top heavy rosters. You about to see.
Deuce throughout that you guys, so that let me know that he probably not one of them guys in his league. You want to see how good John. Right. Let's talk about some guys to pick up this week. I talked about Jared Goff. We're gonna start there. Another guy, if you're in a pinch, I'm gonna go back to your boy, man, Carson Wentz. I said to sit him last week. He's got some favorable matchups coming up in a couple weeks coming forward. So definitely grab him back up if you need to replace Tua or your streaming quarterbacks. Marcus Mariota, he's getting it done with his arm and his feet. It's not always looking pretty, but at the end of the day, it's adding up to a quality start. So definitely look at him at the quarterback spot. We talked about Cordell Patterson. You want to definitely look at the backup there, Algier. He's a rookie. He's getting most of the carries there. 10 carries last week, 84 yards. So definitely want to look at him. Raheem Mostert. You know what I'm saying? And Miami, we thought it was going to be Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds has definitely been getting.
I ain't know who it was going to be. I didn't know who it was going to be. To be honest with you.
Raheem Mostert, man, coming off 2 weeks, man, where he's led the Miami Dolphins in touches. He has 15 carries last week to 69 yards. He looks to be picking up that lead running back role in that Miami offense. If you're familiar with Mike McDaniel in San Francisco, you know that lead running back spot is a very, very valuable spot until the coach runs you into a ACL injury or a concussion. So be careful because their coaches will run you the rock until they run into an injury. So definitely watch that. At the wide receiver spot, I'm sorry, I didn't talk about my wide receiver studs, did I? I'm sorry. Tyreek Hill, man, 160 yards, 10 catches, taking it back to Thursday. Jetta got back on track for his 10 catches for 147 yards. He had a rushing touchdown. Also, I had to give a shout out. You know, I told you guys to stay away from Terry last week, but I also told you to watch out for Jahan Dotson. 3 catches, 43 yards, and a touchdown. Threw that in just for y'all. You know what I'm saying?
He's out 2 weeks. He's possibly out 2 weeks, Henry.
Oh, man. Don't pick him up. But actually, you know what? If he's on your waiver wire or somebody drops him, stash him. Stash him for bye weeks and later in the season, man. It's not all about this current week. Stash him. TJ Hawkinson, man. You definitely want to look at him. 8 catches, 179
he
yards.
balled out, bro.
Without Amon-Ra without Amon-Ra in the offense, without Swift in the offense, he's definitely picking up a bigger role. So going back to guys you definitely want to pick up. We talked about Raheem Mostert. You guys maybe coming off the PUP list, Brian Robinson Jr., maybe taking over that role, the running back spot for the Washington Commanders. He's eligible, I think, to come off that list this week, the NFI list. So definitely look for him on your waivers. Wide receivers, man, welcome back, Darnell Mooney, man. 4 catches, 94 yards. He was kind of awakened. Welcome back to the fantasy football season. If he is on your waiver wires, again, to Deuce's point, bye weeks are coming up starting week 6. He could be a very valuable depth piece for you. Also, we're going to talk about my man Josh Reynolds, man, part of the Reynolds connection. He's become Jeff Goff's trusted wide receiver while Amon-Ra St. Brown is gone. You know, this offense is basically number 1 in scoring right now in the NFL. You might want to get a piece of it. This is a cheap piece. Ain't nobody thinking about Josh Reynolds right now, coming off a great game. 8 targets, 7 catches, 81 yards. and a touchdown. And last but not least, we saw Michael Gallup score a touchdown. He's back healthy, running routes, doing good. You know what I'm saying? So definitely look for him. And also Dak is coming back in the next couple of weeks, so that offense can definitely see a kind of a boost in this production. Tight end, I'm going to talk about Ty Conklin a lot. I mean, again, a lot of folks don't have him rostered right now. I think he's rostered in like 40% of teams on ESPN and Yahoo right now. And also, man, Hayden Hurst had a good game for the Cincinnati Bengals last week. He was able to get some catches, get involved in that offense, and scored a touchdown. So those are some guys who can help you out this week. I'm going to bring you Friday. I'm going to talk about some starts of the week, check up on some injury reports, and give you guys some updates on that. So that's the Fantasy Minute for the week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate that.
man.
Appreciate that. Good, we need to put up a clock, put some pressure on you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No. The time was good. So maybe get like a 3-minute clock because you be like.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get to it. I know we gotta go. You know what I'm saying? It's supper time. I seen something about some fried chicken. I couldn't make it out, but I seen something.
Yeah. That was a shot. That was a shot.
That's a shot, Henry. That's a shot.
Oh, wait a minute.
KFC.
Okay. Hey, we'll take it, man. Hey, he was looking damn good, man. Warren Moon, I don't know who he was, man.
It's not even just y'all though, because if you look at their numbers combined, you'll be like, "Who's this Pokemon?" If you put up Russell Wilson,
everybody looking pretty doggone good when they walk on that Ford field, man. Right now, everybody is getting as an All-Pro when they see us.
That's crazy,
outplaying
man.
Russ completely. Like he's completely outplaying Russ.
Yo,
we gave
they
up
got
51.
draft picks. They got draft picks and all that, and then Gino out here balling. That's crazy, right there.
I told folks they do not want no Jimmy G. They do not need a quarterback. They either going to lose as many games as they can and find out what they do have good, or Drew Lock or Gino going to win them a couple games.
The Hulk going in,
they're not
boy.
going to be mad at that.
I'm gonna be honest with you, guys.
Except us.
The Hulk going in tonight.
Bridgewater.
Bridgewater.
What's my man? Tyrod Taylor.
He hurt again, so he can't catch no breaks.
He hurt again.
Yep.
What the clipboard do to him?
Wait,
Danny Nichols has sprained his. Danny Nichols has sprained his ankle
when they got tackled out of bounds or something. What happened?
Danny Nichols sprained his ankle, so he had to come out. And then Tyrod went in. He ended up getting a concussion or something.
You can't blame that on the trainer.
He got like sooner or later you gotta like want to still be able to do stuff with your family. Like, bro, give it up. Give it up respectfully. Give it up.
We about to come back. Shanked? Who got shanked? Now you got a hole or something.
Getting shanked by the training staff is crazy.
They want to Herbert in that jump bad.
They saw practice every day. Like, listen, we got to step in here. Man.
Hey, man, let's get ready for the last talk.
Yes, sir. We're here at the last thought, and I just want to tell you guys, I'm going to keep it real simple and real, sweet right here in terms of football. This is just the quarter poll. We just 4 games in. A lot of narratives have not been written yet, but I will say some things are starting to take shape. And I wanted to talk about the NFC. It's still wide open. I'm still saying that the Bucs coming off that loss to KC are still the team that I'm looking at as the favorite. But I look at the Rams. I look at teams like San Francisco, even with a Garoppolo, and see that they're going to be a team to be reckoned with in the NFC. Also, you look at a team like Dallas, who's steady winning without Dak. So those teams are definitely going to be a problem in the NFC. But I want to talk about the AFC because I was thoroughly impressed with the showing that Pat Mahomes put on yesterday, and I've been thoroughly impressed with Kansas City. I've been trying not to give them so much credit, man, coming into this year, but I got to just say it, man. We talked about Buffalo being the favorite. Kansas City is still the class of the AFC. Unfortunately for all those AFC fans, Kansas City, the championship still goes through Kansas City. And until somebody knocks them off, they are still the Kings. That's it. Last word.
Thank you. I've been trying to tell folks about the Mahomes Invitational. If you don't get invited, you will not be on the opposing sideline. Come on,
My man
man.
Slim. Any last words from you, Slim?
Hey, man. It's been a great show. Happy to be back for a full show today. What I'm saying, getting back in the scheme of things. You know what I'm saying. Look, listen. Sanders got me, going through it out here. My Gators as well, you know what I'm saying? But again, we always striving to maintain, never complain. You know what I'm saying? Take life one day at a time, do what you gotta do in order to do what you want to do. Peace and blessings to all.
Mayo.
Hey man, this is a blessing right here, just to sit here and talk it up, man. Just sit here and talk football, talk sports, man. This is great, man, and just be able to share this with you guys, man, is awesome moments right here, man. We got some good stuff rolling right here, man. So other than that, man, I'm really enjoying. I'm seeing football rounding out, man. It's starting to round out, man. I know we only 4 weeks, but you starting to see, the bad teams be bad teams, and the good teams are starting to shell. So maybe in about 2 weeks, it's gonna really be shaped out, man. Who gonna be the contenders and who gonna be the pretenders, So it's a great time right now, man. And that's even in college football too, man. We're gonna see it all shape out next 2 weeks.
We can't hear you, Deuce.
That's terrible, right? Appreciate all of you for watching. Appreciate all of you for tuning in, man. We really appreciate all you guys. Henry, Slim, Mayo. Appreciate Lady E, who was here earlier in the building. Appreciate Hawk hanging out with us. Appreciate you. Appreciate Miss Janet South, Carlton, that was on the stream. We appreciate the command. This podcast, appreciate Arch, who is there on Twitter. Again, read our bios. The hosts, we have all of our Twitter handles. Any of our content that we have, all of that is in the description of the podcast. So again, appreciate y'all. We will see you all on Friday. One beat, one sound, one heart, one love.
Enters the Lab Live show will be airing Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Head over to www.redzoneinthelab.com